The topic of safety in our nation's schools is a topic of intense concern following the recent mass shooting at an elementary school in Texas, but not for the first time. In 2018, a rise in school shootings around the country, as well as rising crime in our own community, put intense focus on the subject of school safety.
It was by far the worst year on record for gun violence. And so we had to find some creative ways to help make our schools safe.
Campus police know that's not something they can do alone. It takes the involvement of students, staff, and the community at large. That's why the district has partnered with Crime Stoppers and Sandy Hook Promise on a school safety hotline and reporting app that encourages everyone to say something if they see something. Tips can be given anonymously and can help in preventing a dangerous situation before it begins. They've also added social media monitoring and analytics to their toolbox to better prepare for threats of violence or simply have a pulse on discussions happening there that may be harmful to the learning environment. Campus police continually assess and address what our challenges are. A study by an external security firm of the district's 62 schools and facilities, combined with a safety task force comprised of a cross-section of the community, has given them the information needed to target the highest priorities. One of the biggest, the design of some of the facilities themselves.
Every school is different. Every school presents its own set of challenges from a security standpoint.
So a lot of our older buildings were very open campuses, multiple little outbuildings that you kind of have breezeways that connect the two of the buildings together. Current standards are to have one large campus that you can secure rapidly and efficiently if there was an issue.
That issue could be mitigated by adding additional fencing. But there's another design feature older schools lack: security vestibules to allow screening of visitors at the entrance.
Of course, at that particular time, the challenges that we face today were not present then. And so schools were not built with those type of security resources that we have available today.
Part of the department's security upgrades have involved retrofitting older campuses with that important safety feature. Just one of the many efforts that came with a high price tag they needed to find a way to pay for, an issue addressed in part by grants.
That money has been used to enhance the security in our schools, and we're continuing to do that. We're continuing to look for resources that are outside of our budget.
Grants awarded to the department have totaled millions of dollars over the last few years. The money has enabled the department to add vestibules where needed, as well as school safety officers to man them. Having a system already in place made it easy to pivot to health screenings when the pandemic began.
The last couple of years we've had school safety officers at the front entrance of all of our facilities. And they've typically been there to screen people for contraband, make sure that they're signing in at the front office, things like that. With the COVID environment, because we already had those screeners in place, we were able to just expand their job duties and allow them to check temperatures, make sure they're not showing signs and symptoms.
Grants have also been used to install lockdown systems on school doors and security film on windows to help deter break-ins. Panic alarms and mobile police radios have been added. Upgraded security badges provide more controlled access to district facilities, and additional cameras on campus and mounted on portable towers help keep an eye on things.
We have purchased some camera trailers. They're mobile, solar powered. We can take them out to construction sites and set them up, and they can monitor the activities when nobody's there in the afternoon and evenings and weekends. We can take them to athletic events or large events that we have, put them in a parking lot, and provide an increased level of security in an area that may not have a security camera or someone there to provide that.
The department has a grant writer on staff who helps identify needs and secure the funds to pay for them.
It absolutely helps to have a law enforcement background. I've been a cop, I've ridden a beat, with law enforcement officers, and but I also have a background in school safety. So when I'm looking for a grant or maybe trying to find a grant for a specific thing that maybe our officers might need, it's good for me to know what the officers are going through, what they're dealing with on a daily basis, their needs and the needs of the district. So when I do find a grant, I'm able to put those two things together.
Beyond facility safety improvements, her work has helped provide other potentially life-saving interventions, like training for officers and staff on mental health issues, bullying, and gang prevention and awareness. Narcan and the training to use it in case of an opioid overdose has also been provided to SCCPSS school resource officers and nurses. A district partnership with the Chatham-Savannah Counter-Narcotics Team is intended to help mitigate threats posed by increasingly lethal street drugs, but the work is far from done.
We are constantly working in an evolving climate as law enforcement officers, so we're kind of used to having to deal with those changes. New technology comes out. We like to be able to be on top of the new thing. So, if something new comes out that we're able to equip our schools with or our officers, then we're going to seek out any type of funding that we can find to try to cover that.
Our Savannah Chatham school resource officers work with administrators to keep our schools safe each and every day. School uniforms and clear or mesh backpacks have been a requirement for years. Random administrative inspections and school searches conducted by campus police with canine officers are also a part of those efforts. Building relationships with and mentoring students is another. Our school resource officers undergo regular training to mitigate threats in their role as a school's first responder. They also are an integral part of active shooter drills that students and staff participate in on a regular basis.
We're better prepared today than we've ever been, and I'm remaining vigilant in our efforts. We will not become complacent. As our kids come back to school, we want to welcome them back into a loving and caring environment where they feel safe and they can prosper and go on to do the great things that they're capable of doing.